So guys, I hope this video can be quick. You know, recently they invented a speculum that causes a bit less pain. And guess what? The first 3D printed speculum was invented in 2019. So now they are gonna complain about, oh, men made it painful. Men do not care about women's pain and shit like this. Oh, women have invented this. Women are not allowed in medical schools. Women were not allowed in this, that, and try getting this. Try getting funds as a woman. These people think that science has always been about this, whole glamour and recognition, while the truth is, up until 100 years ago, inventing something that went against traditional knowledge would have gotten you killed, would have gotten you straight up killed, um, because that would have offended the religious clergy. And guess what? Guess who has always held up the status quo of society? Women have always held up the status quo of society. They would have been the ones not supporting people coming up with new ideas. That is the reason women themselves never tried to invent this stuff. And they are only taking up these fields today because some level of glamour and enlightenment is associated with them. When this was not associated with all of this, women did not want to take part in that. And yes, secondly, the 3D printer was invented in 1984 by Chuck Hull. So effectively, this invention is not a woman's invention. The speculum was invented so bodily orifices could be, videographed, right? Now, imagine what would have happened to those hundreds of thousands of women throughout human history in the past 100 years, 200 years, who benefited from the speculum. These people are always whining and complaining about how it has not helped them, while the very idea that something could be inserted into your body and a video of your insides could be taken arose from a man. This hadn't arose from a woman. So women complaining about this is completely pointless because they simply could not come up with that idea, and this has saved the lives of tens of thousands of women. Now let's talk about something that was a lot more risky, genuinely risky, and genuinely hurt people. For hundreds of years, amputations were done without anesthesia. Do you ever hear all of these men complain about how that hurt them more than it should have? It's because people realized that back then there was no anesthesia. Back then there was no stuff that could knock you out completely while your arm was being chopped off. Your arm which could not have been saved, or your arm which could not have been fixed. A lot of stuff that gets people that got people have their arms chopped off is savable today. It's actually possible with x-rays and all of that stuff. Men do not complain about this because men realize that all of this was not invented back then. So of course, man, of course, because 3D printing was not invented by Chuck Hull up until 1984, it was impossible. And 3D printed mechanical devices came up much later. And the idea of making 3D printed devices even more round, those computer technologies which would give you precise millimeter by millimeter detail of how the surface would be, did not come up until we were in the 21st century. Women can complain all they want about how women are not allowed in these fields, women are not allowed in these fields and do not ask for funds. The truth is, making something a bit more comfortable is not something that requires a huge amount of IQ, but making something that is going to give you a video of your insides is a revolutionary idea. So the first was obviously the first that was come up by a man. The second, the ability to print mechanical objects with 3D printers, also came up from a man, and now fixing the speculum with that was the soul among all of these ideas, which came from a woman. Now, of course, these people are going to claim that, oh, men just wanted to hurt women. So let me give you some of the statistics and some of the facts about how men's and women's health is treated. There was a comment I read under that post that, there is such a huge gap between the treatment that men and women get. Well, if there's such a huge gap between the treatment that men and women get, why is it that men tend to live up to 7 years less than women do? This gap has constantly gone up since the 1910s throughout the world, right? And at one point of time, the gap was merely 1 or 2 years. So women are hyper focused and they exaggerate the slight amount of discomfort that they have when a speculum is inserted in them, or they have a painkiller that is not absolutely suited to them. They never fail to mention that men care for women so much, on average, that they would rather provide women funds for breast cancer and ovarian cancer 8 times more than they would provide funds to other men for testicular cancer or prostate cancer. This is the funny part, because I hear a lot of women say, oh, medicine is for men, by men, everything is for men, by men. The truth is, everything in society is for women, by men. It just so happens that the top men are also chosen and given pussy. The truth is, nobody helps those chads either. Nobody helps those chads and geniuses invent the stuff they do, including other men. Nobody funds them either. Sure, they're getting a bit more play. Sure, they're getting a bit more pussy. But what they are doing is entirely for women, for the betterment of women. You visit any psychotherapist, you visit any mental health professional, you ask them how normal is it for a woman to have a mood swing. You ask them how normal is it for a woman to, throw tantrums. How normal is it for a woman to ask that her husband provides for them and is the sole breadwinner, and as happens with most marriages, the man works about twice as much outside of home. Most of them would tell you, yeah, this is perfectly normal, this is perfectly normal. While we are the ones who discuss the black men. We talk about the fact that if those women are genuinely attracted to you, they wouldn't ask for all of this. And now Hamza comes up with this new shit. One of my viewers actually uploaded a video on this, and he acts like this is some revolutionary take from his end. Yeah, so shout out to you, my public subscriber, St. Paris. It's actually this video. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, man, he has exactly my idea.
Billionaires get divorced. Millionaires get cheated on. World star athletes get cheated on by their girlfriends and wives, and those girlfriends and wives get pregnant from some random other guy, and they make this world-class athlete believe that he's the father. That's one of the worst things that could happen. You raise a child that's not even yours, and this woman has deceived you, right? And these men are millionaires. They've got huge levels of status that you and I might not ever get to, and they're still getting cheated on because women don't give a fuck about your material possessions. I will rephrase that. Loving women don't. A woman who doesn't love you cares a lot about that material possession. Men who have been working so hard for years, for decades, still get cheated on and divorced because this isn't what the feminine energy inside of a woman really values. Providing for a woman is only a very small part of it. The bigger part of it is the way that you love her. Billionaires get...
Oh, you don't know how to love a woman? Buy my course to learn how to love women from me. Guys, there is not a single course that can teach you how to love a woman. How you love a woman, in her mind, it's determined by how you look, how tall you are, and what kind of penis you have. That's it, guys. That's it. You don't need to pay Hamza another course where he teaches you how to love your woman. That's genuinely cucked. That's genuinely cucked. You ask these people how all of these things are, if all of these things are normal or not, the answer you would get from these people, these therapists, is these are perfectly normal things. Oh, you should put up with this. So all of this extra stress that you have to put up is normalized for men. Men are never given the knowledge, the psychological knowledge, that if the woman is genuinely attracted to you, she wouldn't throw tantrums, she wouldn't nag you, she wouldn't dump her relationship past trauma on you, she wouldn't use you as emotional support tampon. And the reason you're suffering from this, that is not a healthy relationship. That is a toxic and abusive relationship. Yeah, I'm saying this right now. That is an abusive relationship. If a woman is sharing too much of her trauma with you, that is an abusive relationship. Women don't share their trauma with chads. Guys, they just forget. Chad in, experience and trauma out. And that is part of why they repeat their past mistakes. They might fail with one chat. The moment the next chat comes in, they forget. Men have to put up with this for years upon years. They have to work twice as much as their wife outside of the home. They have to put up with all of that nagging and emotional trauma, and they're told that it's normal, right? This is the main thing that is reducing men's lifestyle, men's lifespan. Besides, of course, very little funding behind men's health problems, men's health issues. How much of funding, bro? Like, let me genuinely ask you people, how much funding does Black Pill YouTube get? Ovarian cancer and breast cancer get more funding in a single hour than Black Pill YouTube has gotten throughout its history. This would genuinely save a lot of men from years upon years of emotional abuse. How much funding does that get? How much funding does men's mental health get? The only people who can genuinely save men's mental health, how many $1 million do you think do these YouTubers like Rehab Room get? None. They get absolutely none. So I try not to continue this yap for as long as possible. Every video has to end somewhere, and this is where this one ends. So see you guys in the next one.